Welcome to the enchanting world of the Never Cross a Witch Bitch podcast. Prepare to be captivated as we embark on a thrilling journey into the realm of spirituality with our remarkable team of a distinctive energy mixture. Leading the way is Mitch Garlington, a gifted gay male witch, touring stage medium, and psychic tarot card reader. With a background in the competitive corporate world and experience as a Cher impersonator, Mitch brings a fresh and unique perspective to our discussions. Next, we have Lucy Locke, a former fundamentalist Christian missionary turned sex shop manager turned professional dog groomer turned psychic medium, trance channeler, and tarot card reader. Her incredible transformation into the spiritual world is truly inspiring. And last but certainly not least, we have Carly Batten, a second-generation practicing pagan, intuitive oracle card reader, and spiritual mother to many. Carly brings a grounded approach and simple understanding to the complexities of spiritual living. Together, we form an unstoppable podcast as we delve into all things spiritual and the journey of life. Our mission is crystal clear: to spread the message that spirit embraces all and that each of us is on a spiritual path, whether we realize it or not. So buckle up and get ready for an exhilarating adventure with the Never Cross a Witch Bitch podcast. Please note that all ideas discussed and presented in this podcast are the personal opinions of the individual podcasters and do not necessarily reflect the views of each other or the viewers.
Hi all, it's us, me, Lucy, and
Mitch. And
Carly.
I'll do slow on the uptake there.
And now we feel like the Brady Bunch.
yeah, exactly. From Never Cross a Witch Bitch. What episode is this now? 17 or 18? 18?
I don't want to say 18, I think. 18,
18.
yeah.
I think we're on 18, yeah.
I'm going to give us a little root of woohoo! I was reading on this podcast page that we just recently all joined, the Facebook podcast page, didn't we? It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. But someone put up there a bunch of statistics, right? And if you make it past episode 20, usually people stop after the third episode of a podcast, people recording it. So like us as podcasters, the podcasters stop. Then I think I sent this to you, Mitch, as a little like picture. And then in the top 1% of podcasters are people that have done 20 episodes or more. So if we make it to 20 episodes, which we plan to do more than 20, we're in the top 1% of podcasters. That's pretty cool. Yeah,
we're definitely
really
the bad bitches then, aren't we?
So
this time next year, Rodders, we'll be meaning.
Oh dear.
No, we won't. No, we won't. We're not here for the money.
I am.
There is no. We'll be absolutely 100% honest. There has been no money. I have spent money.
Yeah, but we've the abundance of the enjoyment is just overrides everything, doesn't it? We love doing it. We love doing it.
I'd be a happy camper if we got. You know what I'd like to have those plaques again. You know what I'm saying? When you reach like 200,000, you get like a bronze YouTube plaque.
We want a YouTube plaque.
Yeah, and then you get like at 500,000, you get a silver one, and then at 1 million subscribers, you get like the gold one, and then you, I think you start monetizing at 200,000 followers. You can start monetizing.
Oh, we've got a bit of a way to go then.
But yeah, we're at 80.
Get liking, guys.
We're at 80 right now.
Get subscribing.
That's good.
Please subscribe. I don't want to beg. Mitch is against begging. I don't want to beg. So but please subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything. You know, if you see our video pop up and you don't feel like watching it at that time, don't feel guilty, but just please subscribe. It helps us a lot. It gives us oomph to keep on going. And also it gets us on the algorithm. What the algorithm is the pathway for other people to see us. So it doesn't cost you anything. Even if you hate one of us, our guts, just subscribe and then forget you subscribed. Okay?
Just subscribe, then stop watching. It's fine.
Exactly.
They don't have to watch it. Just subscribe.
Exactly.
And we will practice our Puss in Boot eyes.
Yeah. If you're like, I fucking can't stand to see that Canadian bitch speak one more time, just subscribe and ignore her.
Subscribe.
That's what I say. You know,
just press subscribe, bugger off.
Exactly. You're even allowed, I give you full permission to fast forward through my bits. So you could just be like, see me just going. And then when Mitch starts, usually I'm talking over Mitch. So you might have to hear my voice for a few seconds while I talk over Mitch. But he's got something for me today.
Well, I have.
Mitch, what have you got?
I've got myself a little bell here, and it will just deal with these two fuckers if they get too much, basically.
Well, Carly says
sorry,
it's not
my
me,
dog doesn't
and
like
I will take it. I will take it. I have a problem. It's excitement, people. It's excitement. That's purely what it comes from. It's not disrespect to anyone. It's excitement.
No, it's you, Lucy. That's what it is. It's you, and we love you, so it's all
Verbal
good.
diarrhea doesn't know when to shut up. And so today we are going to talk about angels and ascended masters and what angels are to us and other people and different experiences we might have had with angels, and just go down some rabbit holes. And then I think we're going to touch on the subject a little bit later on, if we get to it, of what is considered a good read when you go to a medium or a tarot card reader or any kind of experience with the spiritual. What is considered a good experience? Does that sound good, you guys?
Sounds good.
All right.
Who's kicking us off?
Go on then,
Go on, Mitch.
Carly's all gibbled. Carly's a cripple right now. Oh, I shouldn't.
Oh.
Carly didn't tear her ligaments.
I'm lame.
She stretched them to maximum capacity. Capacity. They went, and she's in a brace right now, isn't she? I'm on one, you guys. Sorry.
Charlie's like, I didn't fucking want anyone to know that.
You can't see that because I've got my newsreader table on. So actually, below here, I've got nothing on and an ice pack on my knee. Very sexy thought. I shall leave you with all of that.
Well, she's out of work for a week, so we told her to start an OnlyFans of different brace-related pictures. Videos.
Oh dear. You never know, it could take off. We weren't talking about selling socks, weren't we, at one point, and other things?
You were. I was talking about underwear.
Right, angels. Angels, should we be sensible? Let's get back to the subject matter, shall we, before we go off some very naughty rabbit hole, which we shouldn't be embarking on. Angels, right? Is it who's had an experience with angels? I personally haven't had experience
with today, isn't she?
Yeah.
Look at her nails are all
teacher today.
She's not doing the ponies. Look at her nails; they're really beautiful today.
Yeah.
She's like, "Come on, I'm teacher today. I'm bringing it back round the subject."
Somebody's got to keep you in line. Told you, it's taking these gummy mushrooms. Brilliant. Anyway, so stop it. We're never going to get there, are we? It's just going to be one of them podcasts. No. So I haven't had direct experience with angels, but that's not to say that they don't work with you. I think it's we were sort of talking about the perception of things and that the other day. I mean, I've worked with Doreen Virtue Oracle cards, and my first set of Oracle cards that I got on really well with was Daily Guidance Angel cards that Jazzy gifted me. So Jazzy bought these. I always call them my old faithfuls because they're the first set of cards I actually really connected with and found I worked really well with. I mean, I've got some more of Doreen Virtue ones. I've got the Raphael ones. I've got some other bits and pieces, but I don't directly feel connected to work with angels. I'm not saying they don't, but I just don't feel that's where my energy sits.
Yeah,
but it's I think it's people's perception. It's like, I see, I've sat with Emma and seen golden orbs. I always call it a Quidditch ball, but who's to say that that isn't an angel of some form of description? Because the angels as we see them in pictures with wings and things are a perception of somebody at some point seeing some light shaft. So that picture has come from somewhere. I've forgotten who it was. There was somebody who actually done some research on this as a historian. I don't think it was Graham Hancock, which I've spoken about him before. I don't think it was him, but somebody has sort of, said that they people see the sort of the light shaft, and then from that it then gets into, or they see wings, or they may well see things coming off of it. So I think sometimes it's just our perception of what we see. So is it just angels? Is angels just a name for, spiritual? Well, it is, isn't it? Angels is another name for spiritual beings that help us.
Well, I've got like when I do my violet flame healing, I have a guide that steps forward, and they're sort of genderless, I would say, so that they're not masculine, they're not feminine. They kind of embody both energies. They don't have feathery wings, but I consider them to be an angel. So that I suppose they would be seen as like a light being, but for me, I take that to be more angelic than if I was to call upon, say, an archangel directly. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing that if that's your thing. For me personally, I just don't feel connected to call upon Archangel Michael or Gabriel or whoever's running the show up there. I feel they do exist. I feel like that energy is there. But for me, this angel comes in when we're doing healing, and I tend to be at the top of somebody, they're at the bottom, then when we sort of turn around it moves around with me, and when the healing is done they step back. So I actually find I get more empowerment from that being as an angel than if I was to directly humamar and call upon a specific type of angel. What's your thoughts?
What
about you, Luce?
Yeah, can I show you something before we start? I start, I pulled some cards, and I usually like to pull cards in front of people so that they can actually see the actual happening of the magic. But before we got on here, I was like, "Oh, Spirit, what do you want to say about our podcast today?" And we didn't know what we were going to talk about at all. Like, we kind of had an idea a couple weeks ago, but I totally left my mind of what we were talking about. So I got, the first card was creative endeavor. So that it says events, and so our podcast is a creative endeavor of us going to doing something. Then I got, the next card that popped out was Angels of the Four Directions.
Oh, I like that.
Isn't that cool? And it says spirit, and that's what we're talking about today. But I had no clue that we were like.
And also, our location is kind of sort of four direction points, sort of.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
Carry on. Yes. So anyway, angels. I've never been much of. I've had friends and known people that really, really, really love angels. Does that make sense? And have I've had direct experiences with angels that are like proper angels, or what we imagine to be proper, or an angel. And I believe them in their experiences. But for me, it's not been a major part of my spirituality. Angels. But we were talking before about earth angels. And I really believe that I've had a couple of different experiences where I've met someone and they've impacted my life in a very 10 or 15 minute impact. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then they're never to be seen again. People don't even know who they are. And I told the story before on here, but I'm going to tell it again about how in my 20s, I had really bad mental health, and depression and anxiety was my big thing. And I'd gotten so anxious that I hadn't slept for quite a few days, and I was just in a self-loathing kind of anxiety, and it was getting into delusional type thinking, if that makes sense. And I couldn't sleep for more than 10 minutes at a time, and I was waking up in a state of utter anxiousness, and it was absolutely horrible. And I said to my ex-husband, now ex-husband, he was my husband at the time, I said, I need to go to the hospital. I need to go to the hospital. And he admitted later on he didn't want to take me to the hospital because he thought I would be admitted or sectioned. And that, nowadays, this is back in the early 2000s, if someone got sectioned, I don't even think twice about it. I think, good for you. Get some respite. It's so different now. You know what I'm saying? And get yourself some care and have some good counseling in there. Get yourself stabilized in whatever way you need to get stabilized. Some people need that immediate care like that, where it's 24 hours a day for a while they get themselves sorted. And it is a brain disorder. It's not anything you've done in life. It is chemicals in the brain that have become, and it can be spewed on from an event. Anyway, so just want to put out there for people not to judge people that have mental health, or if they have mental health themselves and struggle, not to sit in the shame of it, because there is no shame in it. Absolutely no shame. But he took me to a Medi Center in Canada. We have like 24-hour kind of Medi Centers. So they're like little doctor's offices that you could just walk into if it's like you can't get into your regular doctor, and just sit there and wait to be seen. So we went to the Medi Center, and I got called in, and this doctor came in. It was a young woman. Her name was Dr. Bear, right? And at the time, my delusional thinking was, for my Christianity, I really felt like I'd failed God, and that God was going to punish me, and I deserved to be like smited out by God. And I really had these like kind of religious, and it came from a lot of religion taught to me that kind of just overpowered me, in that I was not living the proper life. And I was just bawling my eyes out saying I'm a crap Christian and I'm this and that. And she said, "Oh, I'm a Christian." And she said, "I'll tell you right now that you're loved very, very much. And God is not angry at you. God does not have any bad feelings towards you. God loves you very, very, very much." And she said, "You have nothing to be ashamed of. You are perfect for who you are right now." And she said, "I'm going to give you a medication, an antidepressant, that's going to make you sleep 14 hours tonight, and you're going to have the best sleep of your life." Well, I want to cry even just about it. And she said, "You will feel a lot better." And so I left the office, and I remember even getting in the car saying, "I don't deserve that. I don't deserve that." And I took the medication that night. She was totally correct. I slept 14 hours, and I actually woke up feeling like a brand new person. I felt like Lucy again. And I stayed on that medication for quite a few years, just because, it needed to balance out my serotonins and my dopamines and all that kind of stuff, and create new pathways of thinking and all that. But I said to my husband was there with me. So he met Dr. Bear, Bear, right? And that, I need to look up what that means too, because it might have some sort of spiritual meaning, bear.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
But I went in, I said, I'm going to go in and I'm going to give her some flowers and say, thank you very much, because she changed my life, and I wanted her to see me well. Does that make sense? That she could see that she had done something really cool. So I went to the Medi Center and I was like, I'd like to leave these for Dr. Bear. And they're like, "Dr. Bear?" And they're like, "No, Dr. Bear works here." I'm like, "Oh, well, I was here on this date." And they're like, "No, Dr. Bear."
God.
And I go, "Was she an angel that was sent, that just in that moment that I needed to hear that?" Does that make sense? And the truth of who I was and who I am spoken to me, and the permission, because in the Christian world, being on antidepressants was considered a failure, that you didn't have enough. Oh yeah, really bad. Yeah, really bad stigma. Really bad stigma. You were a failure. You weren't spiritual enough. You didn't have enough faith. If you had enough faith, you wouldn't struggle with depression and anxiety. And so for her to say, that angel to say to me, "I'm going to give you this medication and it's going to help you."
That's powerful.
Is
Can I cut in?
Yeah.
I've just had a little look. So I've done the wonderful world of the Tinternet.
I could say Tinder then.
No. God, obsession with swipe left. No, sensible conversation, Mr. Garlington. God, Bennett. So, bear, symbolizing across cultures, represents the bridge between the earthly and the divine.
Oh wow, that's cool.
Oh, I want to bawl my eyes out.
And that is, sorry, and that is highlighted. So literally, it's the first thing that's come up on Google, and it says often depicts as a garden for legendary heroes. This majestic animal highlighted represents a bridge between the earthly and the divine, and that's the first thing that stuck out. Embodying the essence of spiritual significance, a symbol of protection, the bear is a powerful ally for those in need, standing as a stalwart defender against all threats.
Oh wow!
Sorry,
I'm
Luce.
so goosey with you saying that.
Oh, Spirit is so beautiful.
Sorry, Luce.
No, it's all right. These are good tears. I love Spirit so much. Like, I couldn't live without them.
Wow, that is big, isn't it?
Thank you,
Yeah.
Carly. Wow.
That's all right.
Sorry, you
there
guys.
you go. That's keeping it real.
Memory, but it's so incredible how Spirit can take a memory and even heal it more and more. The layers of stuff that they want to show you, like that woman's name, Dr. Bear. Like how for years, that's got to be 25 years ago this went on. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't know that. I didn't even think to look up the name Bear.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
And I was just sat here and I was going, you said, oh, I'm going to look it up. And I thought, I think we need to look this up and see what's going on. And out of the whole paragraph, that bit is highlighted, that thing about the earthly between the bridge between the earthly and the divine is just highlighted in that first paragraph. And I didn't need to go any further because that's what you need to be told.
It's amazing how I doubt so often. We had this the other day, Mitch, where I was really doubting my business that I was starting as a counselor.
Yeah, you had a bit of a wobble, didn't you?
And I had a big wobble of like, oh my God, this and that. And then I went for a meeting regarding my rheumatoid arthritis, and I had to be like checked over and all this stuff. And I didn't know the woman from a hole in the ground. And I was feeling really like, went step back in my shame a bit. And she sat down with me and she's like, talking about spirituality. And this was like a medical meeting. Okay. And I was like, okay. And I said, oh, are you spiritual? She goes, oh, very, very, yeah. And I was like, oh, cool. I am too. And, she probably saw my necklace and felt a little bit, like she could talk to me about that or whatever. And she said, I feel from your energy, your aura, that you would make a really good counselor. And that was what my wobble was totally about. And I was like, really? And she's like, I totally feel it. And she said, I don't talk to people very much like about this kind of thing because she was like working for PIP, which is the disability I was on. She ended up taking it away from me, but that's all right. I'll take it.
Let her off. You let her off.
I'll live through the experience of what she was very kind, but I don't fall under the disability anymore. That's all right. I'm over that. And it's a big push for me, and that's actually a good thing. Because I want to get better. I want to feel better in my body with my rheumatoid. But she ended up saying, then she said, the day before they called me and they said that their elevator had broken. And they said, are you able to walk up 2 flights of stairs? And that might have been a test too. And I said, yeah, I can walk up 2 flights of stairs to see you guys. And I said to the woman, I really look forward to, the meeting or whatever. And she said, oh, the woman that called you yesterday said that you were one of the kindest people that she's ever talked to on the phone. And she said you just gave her so much peace. And all I said was, I look forward to having a meeting with you guys tomorrow. And yeah, I can make it up 2 flights of stairs. But it's amazing what Spirit can do, because they were PIP people. They're used to people really
being rude
angry.
and
really angry with them. And so, it was quite cool that so I ended up talking to her about her life, and Spirit gave me a whole download about her trauma and childhood, and she was like, and she said, she's like, can I give you a hug? And so we hugged each other, and she was like, but it was, it's amazing how Spirit works. Does that make sense?
What
like
a ripple effect.
Mitch was trying to talk me out of the wobble. Colin was trying to talk me out of a wobble. And then Spirit was like, okay, we're going to get her out of this freaking wobble.
We're going to fucking talk to her.
And then like a total stranger talked to me. And it doesn't happen to me all the time, but it happens at very significant points in my life. Where there needs to be a good shift.
And look at that ripple effect you've caused with that lady now. So that lady that you've now sat in and had the most random conversation in complete the most random place, you've now created a ripple effect with her, and she'll now look on you as though you've helped her start healing.
We helped each other, and it was at a PIP.
Yeah.
If anyone knows what PIP, it's Disability Government Meeting. Pips. Yeah. Sorry, I'm going to get some Kleenex for my nose. Keep talking.
Oh no.
Oh, but
I did mean to find them. Go on.
I was going to say, it's really interesting how these people do cross our path, because I had a similar experience, which I have said before as well. Like when I used to work in the bed shop, well, obviously a few different experiences, but for me personally, I was working in the bed shop, and I was at a real shitty stage in my mental health. So I have mental health quite bad on and off, you know. I think anyone that works spiritually is prone to that.
I think a lot of people struggle, and they don't realize it. They just think it's them. Yeah, definitely. There's a freedom from it. Yeah,
and I was having a particularly sort of shit day, and you know, I wasn't suicidal, but I was feeling like, God, my life has no purpose. Like, you know, is this all that my life is? Roddy Run. I used to go through these sort of cyclones of energy, and then this random woman just came in off the street with her partner, and she was starting to sort of look at beds, and then we just got sort of chatting, and she ended up becoming my tarot teacher. I talk about her loads, Annette Gearing, because she is a beautiful, beautiful soul and a lovely friend. But I really do feel like, for me personally, she saved me, because she said, why are you here? This is not what you're meant to be doing. She's like, you're meant to be doing tarot. And I didn't really know what tarot was. And she's like, we need to get your mental health together first. So she used to talk to me about, she talked to me about these mindfulness meditation groups and everything. And she's like, come along, it will really help you. And I thought, do you know what? I am going to go, because she saw me. For me, there was no seeing me wanting to sell her a bed and everything else. I felt seen for the first time by somebody just random off the street. And, you know, we've become pretty good friends ever since. And, yeah, it's powerful, isn't it? So for me, I would say Annette is an earth angel. She was sent from spirit, and probably if I hadn't have done the work and the teachings and the sort of courses with her, I wouldn't be doing the work I'm doing now. So I have a massive amount of sort of respect and love. But she sort of set me on that path of freedom and release, because she could see I was in a job that I wasn't happy with, and it was just drowning me. And it was like I was screaming for help, and nobody was hearing me. And she just come on and was like, I can hear you, I can see you physically, but I can hear you spiritually. And from doing the meditations, my life just changed overnight for the better. You know? And it's like she just set me free in so many ways. So yeah, it's quite powerful, really.
That's super cool.
So I think really, I mean, we say that we don't really work with angels. I think me as a pagan, if you're putting it into sort of that type of perspective, you know, we have people that we would class as earth angels, or, you know, people that come in and help us physically, rather than that are put in our path by spirit or the universe or whoever you perceive that energy to be. So they're put in our path for us to, however small, learn something or take something from it, or heal from it, or, you know, create. I mean, I'd love Lucy's experience of, you know, having that ripple effect. I mean, how amazing is that? And in the middle of a PIP meeting. I love things like that. I think sometimes I've had it. I can't specifically put fingers on it, but I've had it where I've had conversations. I might have a little bit of a wobble about something, or I'll start to feel as though am I where I should be on my spiritual path? I think we all ask the same question. We all say, you know, our physical, normal TikTok. No, I don't mean TikTok computer.
You mean the clock, your internal clock.
Yeah, TikTok life. Thanks, Luce. I knew I was trying to get somewhere, but I couldn't get there. You got there for me.
Are those mushrooms really working?
They are, but not that well. I thought you said it. They are they're better. That would have taken me a hell of a long time to get out.
No, you look so bright, Carly. Even though your legs covered up, you look really good.
But I've done a lot. We're talking about mental health. I've done a lot of mental health healing again last week. You know, we all have these glitches, and I think it's really good that we need to talk about them. You know, I know you guys have spoken to you guys about it, and you know, briefly spoke to M, but I think sometimes owning those monkey chatters is really, really hard. And you know, knowing that you've got even really good friends like yourselves and M and things, you're my own personal earth angels because I can offload, you know, and you'll say something. There'll be something that you will say. Well, you are, because there's something that you will say that will be fed for you to say it that will help me go, oh, come on, you know, buck yourself up. But we do that as but we just take that for granted. We take that as supporting a friend. We take that as, you know, keeping our friends, holding space for our friends and holding space for people who need it. But in a way, you are, you know, being fed by the universe and spirit, and you say those bits because you're fed them, you know. So, you know, we all struggle with mental health and things. I say last week was not for me, which is quite something for me to admit, was not a good week. It was up
It's
one
interesting.
day,
We had
down the
like
next.
a real mirroring, didn't we?
We have, yeah. But we were like, so I'd have the good day, you'd have the bad day, and then it would change. So you would then have not so good day, and then I would be like, blah, 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 and I'd message you and you go, you all right? No, I'm really crap. I'm like, oh, we're all right, you know, and it would mirror. But yeah, I mean, I think, you know, I think we all have little connections, and I think spirit or the universe put those people in front of us. I was sort of saying about, you know, people being put in front of you, and I think they will just, you'll connect with them and you'll start talking to them about spirit, you know, in the middle of the shops or something like that, and you'll say something that when you, or they will say something that when you walk away you go, oh, that's what I was wobbling about. Oh, I've just been given the answer and I didn't need it. You know, so there's tiny, even though we say we don't actually work with angels, I'm just wondering if we just take
Well,
them as being
yeah.
different.
Well, I felt spirit really strongly say to my body and brain is we are all earth angels
Yeah,
Mm,
for
definitely.
the positive and negative in life. We are spirit having a human experience.
Mm.
And so we
mm,
are like at Christmas time, spirit showed me so strong and it changed my perception massively. And I still need to walk further in that. Is that, you know, how we worship angels and we worship spirit and we say, oh, thank you, spirit. Do you know what they do the same for us?
mm,
They worship us. They're thankful for us. We are the brave ones that have chosen to take this energy that can go anywhere and be
mm,
really quite neat and go into these flesh suits, you know what I'm saying? That are, mine is particularly fucking painful sometimes, you know, and you know, with brains that don't work properly and joints that don't work properly and hearts, you know, and all these worries and these competitions and all these societal pressures and stuff like that when they're free. Does that make sense?
mm,
They're like in, and so they go, wow, brave souls. Wow. And when that was like exposed to me, and I'm not very much of uppity myself. Does that make sense? I really have a hard
mm,
time. That's part of my trauma makeup, and my trauma is like being able to have confidence, you know what I'm saying? And say, yeah, I'm all right. You know, things are all right, or I'm good. And for them to say that, it really resonated where I'm like, wow, I've spent my whole life worshiping you and feeling like at service. And if I don't, things are
mm,
going to go kapooey on me, you know, this guilt kind of thing. And it was like, no, it's an energy exchange. We worship, like, it's like, we feel
mm,
just as strongly about you all as
Yeah,
you do
mm,
about us, you know? And I was
mm,
just like, so yeah. And for good or bad, I've had some shit people in my life, okay? I have not had seen red flags or ignored red flags, and I've had some really shitty experiences, okay? And some real shit done
mm,
to me. And I can honestly say now, and do if I have shit in the future, it's going to be hard, but you work through it. Does that make sense? But I can honestly say thank you.
mm.
Thank you. Because my life is now, and sometimes it's taken years and years and years, and that's me in my muck and stuff like that with it. But I can honestly say thank you because I've come out the other side, the yin and the yang. If I didn't have that, I wouldn't know this goodness. Does that make sense? And this freedom.
It's really
And
interesting you're saying that, because I was thinking something this morning. So I was going through my trauma this morning of when I was booed off stage as Cher. Um, and I got a real dressing down from the person that was hosting, if you like, this huge, big sort of drag queen and everything else. And I was literally ripped apart on stage. But I actually sort of feel, in a way, now that was kind of a gift from spirit. I didn't feel like it at the time. It was fucking awful. But now it's allowed me to do so much other stuff, and it pulled apart the Cher character and allowed me to really find who is Mitch beyond the sequins and the makeup and everything else. You know, so with you saying about that freedom, Lucy, I was feeling that this morning. This real sense of like, wow, that experience was shitty in the moment, but now that has set me free from so much stuff. You know.
Yeah, like I've had some trauma in my life where it's like really intricate. Does that make sense? Like it's a big trauma, but it's layers and layers and layers of hurt. Like how I look at it is like being stabbed with a big butcher knife, and all the layers and nerves and everything have to heal, and it doesn't happen all at once. But I'm so thankful for that because now in what I'm doing and what I've actually wanted to do since I was young, I think about it counseling people and stuff like that. Working through all that has given me such a deep understanding that I go, if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be able to understand other people and have that ability to go through those layers with them of whatever is going on. And their layers might show different, but the feelings can be the
Yeah.
same. And I
Same.
just go, if I didn't go through that, I wouldn't have the ability to help or stand in the confidence of helping other people. So I go, thank you. Thank you. And I thank myself because I think I signed up for a lot of it before I came here. I really truly believe that. Not everyone's into that kind of mode, but from my higher perspective, I look at it and maybe it gives me that autonomy that I need, that I feel like, okay, I've had some control over this. I don't know if it's a subconscious thing or whatever, but it makes me feel better going, okay, I kind of have control over how I respond to this because I signed up for this. And that for me is a very healing viewpoint.
Yeah.
Sorry, Car.
That's all right. I can't remember where I was going now. I was getting quite engrossed in your conversation.
Take another mushroom, girl. Remind yourself.
Carly's only microdosing. She's not,
They're not magic mushrooms. Well,
No.
maybe.
She's not growing. She does have sheep. Don't you have sheep? Because that's where they grow, like in sheep's poo. The magic mushrooms grow on like the side of mountains in sheep's poo or something like that. That's what
I
I've
don't
heard.
know.
That's
You
what
know more than
Colin
I
told
do.
me. I don't know. Colin doesn't always
okay.
have. Colin's not always the
Cultivating
beacon of truth. Okay.
I don't know. I just buy them in a jar. I come in a jar and just eat them. Lion's mane and all that stuff. No, I was sort of thinking that the idea talking about. I'm going to take you back now because we'd like going down rabbit holes. Talking about the angels, we sort of go at the angels and they go at us the other way around. Do you think that I think the angels and us have always been on the same level? So having a thought pattern. So I get the feeling that the angels and us have always been on the same level, but does it then resort back because they're obviously a light being of some form, and most of the time we see light being, so I'm talking like history, how it's percepted into how angels are now, and most of the time when you see a shaft of light or a portal or a fairy door, it's floating, isn't it? It's normally levitating. So do you think it's obviously history and the ways humans have perceived it that have now created angels to be coming from above? Do you think they're walking around on the same level as us? And we've just sort of perceived them as being
higher, sort of thing.
Do you get what I mean? Because Lucy's saying, they look at us and go, well, fair play for going back because we wouldn't do it. Fair play you lot for going back because there's no way you'd catch us doing that. And then us as human beings are going, oh, it's the angels. But it's the human beings that have created that story that angels are, because they levitate. So they're more than what they are, but they're not. That sounds really bad. I didn't mean it in a derogative way.
No. I think what recently has come to me, and I think Spirit showed me that over Christmas, that when I do my trance, because I love doing trance, before I was like, when I was in the meditation of trance, I was kind of like going in. Does that make sense? And Spirit has shown me now, no,
Go out.
Go your energy out. And so in my mind's eye, how Spirit has shown it to me in my third eye or in my imagination, is I'm going out and then we blend. So they're all around me. It's just that I sit in my normal day to day, not always feeling that. Does that make sense? But if I calm my nervous system down, calm my body down, calm my brain down, right? They've shown me that they're there and I can go, my energy goes out with them and we can blend. And and then how trance happens is that I'm allowing that energy to come and blend inside my body, but I'm still there. Does that make sense? But and that's how they've shown it to me. So to me, in my mind's eye and how I perceive Spirit is that they're around me all the time. Yeah. They're they're that close of breath. Like in the Bible, they talk about the Holy Spirit, and like they've actually taken it back to the Latin, the Aromatic and stuff. I'll be honest, which actually means breath. And so breath is the very essence of what keeps us alive. If we don't breathe, we die, right? And so Spirit is considered the very essence, and that's how close they are. So perception-wise or vibration-wise, even breath work can change how you feel spiritually and how you feel mentally and emotionally. So that is Spirit alone there just going in. That's how intricate I see Spirit with us. Is that the very breath we take.
Yeah. Have you guys heard that song by Bliss, 1,000 Angels by My Side, that one?
No.
Oh, you need to check it out. It's such a beautiful song. And that always reminds me of how angelic connection is, I suppose. It is a really beautiful song. The first time I heard it and it was turned up quite loud. And I just like burst into tears because it's so, you have to check it out. It's so powerful. Yeah. But the way that the song is sort of sung feels to me very much like they are, like you're sort of saying, Lucy, they are just all around us at any one given time. Yeah, that collectiveness.
So it's human. So it's human beings through history that have then created that sort of, they're higher up than, and it's all them rather than us working with them, isn't it?
But we've just gone through 2,000 years in astrology. I think it's 2,000 years. I'll look it up, so please don't judge me on this. But it's been kind of a patriarchal society that we've been in for about 2,000 years. And just recently, we've moved into Aquarius, where Aquarius is all about the blending and all about the one and all about not being in levels, all about equality and that we are one, right? We're just at the beginning of that. And then it's going to be, I forget how many hundred to 1,000 years we're going to be in Aquarius. Does that make sense? So the world is going to change, but we're already starting to see that shift right now of, some of the old style government, all that kind of stuff wants that hierarchy still, that dictatorship, that thing. And then there's the other people that are coming into the one of, no, we are all equal. We all deserve to treat each other as equals. We all deserve to hold each other's hands and walk each other home. Kind of mentality put in a very simple treat your neighbor as you want to be treated type thing. And so that's all shifting right now. And I believe Spirit wants that to shift, that we don't look at them as this, like we've taken Jesus, for instance. We'll talk about Ascended Masters. Jesus, for instance, we've made him this thing and we've totally misinterpreted and misrepresented who he came to be. He came to show us our one with God, that we are one with God, that we are God in human form, that we are Spirit in human form. He came to show that, but we've taken it that we have to worship him. And if we don't worship him, somehow we're going to go to hell. And if you really step out of that, it's fucking retarded. Like, I'm sorry, but it's like, holy crap, how? And I lived years believing that, okay, with every ounce of my being. And there's millions of people that walk this earth absolutely believing that, okay? And like, if you read, it doesn't make any sense. Like he says, yes, I am the Father. I am the Father. I and the Father are one. But what he's meaning is that us, you're going to do more than what I ever did. He said that. You will do more than what I ever did. Like, he's basically telling us that we are spirit
all
in
together.
human form. There's no there we can walk on, like, that's a story, walk on water, but like we have these miracles. Like I said, the spitting, he used his own spit, rubbed it in the dirt and put it on a guy's eyes and he could see again. You know, and we go, oh, witches are awful for taking bodily fluids or this or that. You know, like it's just crazy how we've taken stuff that is there blatantly in front of our eyes and we've gaslighted it and made it into something that is to scare us into submission. Of,
but that's human beings. That's human beings gaining power, isn't it? So
and it's
you know,
going
the
away.
whole thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's good
away.
because it's about time. It's about time it did. I mean, but that's how human beings gain power over the minions. That's how they gain power over people, medicine men and women in the Western society, not in Native American society. They still have their Native Indigenous Americans still have their people, but in the Western society it was really sought after, you know, this whole witchcraft and, you know, because it demoralized the minions, the working class. A lot of the witches were working class. And it's that holding power over people, isn't it? It's like, but if you take that back to caveman days, you probably had that in tribal situations in caveman days. You know, I can talk to the sun god and they'd all go, you know, and that was it. You know, if you don't do as you're told, the sun god will set you on fire. And they'd be like, oh, sun god fire. And, you know, so wherever there's someone who's going to take power and take advantage of that and exploit that, you're gonna have that. So really it's time for this is getting very political, but this is very time for the minions to rise up and go, hang on a minute. We don't need, you need some form of people to behave, because you will then have people taking advantage of the minions. They will have people taking advantage of the freedom, because unfortunately not everybody's like us lovely people and love the world.
And that comes from their own trauma in life that they've not dealt with. Does that make sense? That they either have to take a power over people, or some people have to be under submission. Does that make sense? And like we all take our different roles, but you're totally correct. And it's going to be, I don't want to sound dire and doom, but I really feel Spirit is saying it's time for people to really come in tune with themselves, right? Because the next couple of years, I think we're in for a real rough road. Does that make sense? Of like not sure where we're going to land, as like, I don't feel like the world's going to disappear or anything, but there's going to be huge shifts. There's already massive shifts in just the last 8 weeks. Government wise, just all the planets are aligning and all this stuff, like things that haven't happened for
and I think that's really going to affect us as spiritually in touch people, no matter how far down your path are, whether or not you're just starting or whether or not you're a bit further down. I think it's going to, you know, there's certain things in normal mogul life that have affected, you know, my mental health and you know, Mitch's mental health and your mental health, but I think it's enhanced by a collective energy, the stuff that's shifting astrologically, and I think if we're aware of it, I think this is a real time for us to I suddenly got on a tangent. So I think this is a real time for us to really not be frightened of it, but just be mindful of it as well. So really think what's happening, try and understand why it's happening, rather than just jumping in and, you know.
Exactly. No knee-jerk reactions, but also this, sorry, I'm getting like Spirit's really like, I get a bit like, sorry, you're like, do you
want to say anything much?
Let the girls crack on.
But what I feel is foundations are shifting on the outside. Okay. So people aren't going to know where their foundations are, what things are, where to put their safety, where to put and Spirit's
Mm.
really been putting in me. People need to start feeling safe on the inside.
Yeah,
Their
yeah.
foundation needs to be on the inside. That if the outside, I'm not talking war or anything, but I'm just talking like just things changing
General
financially.
life.
Governments' rules
Mm.
are changing, because governments are trying to save money, so they're doing cuts and this and that. And they said, there's been certain decisions made worldwide that it might put us into a deep recession. And I'm not meaning to be doom and gloom, but it shakes. You know what I'm saying? It
Mm.
shakes. But
It
if we have
creates,
this,
again, a ripple effect, isn't it?
and it can affect us, right? And so
Mm.
Spirit has been saying over and over, and that's why I'm doing what I am doing to help people stand inside of themselves in safety, going through the old garbage and getting rid of it and standing and feeling safe and secure and confident in themselves that no
Mm.
matter what happens, they're not rocked with it too much. Does that make
Mm.
sense? And they can,
Mm.
no matter what the world is shouting at them, they can go inside and feel safe and love
Mm.
and, and comfortable. Because I'm
Mm.
not saying we're going to be in some war. That's not what I'm saying, but I just feel like it's already happening where we don't know what decisions are going to be made that's going to affect
Mm.
just normal kind of like we had COVID, where it changed things like that, didn't it? And I don't
Mm.
think it's going to be a
Mm.
COVID thing, but I think just recession again, that kind of thing, there's just going to
Mm.
be different things that are going to happen that we're going to go, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it's like we have to go
Mm.
inward. And when we feel safe inward, we can help each other on the outside. Does that make sense? And
Mm.
go, okay,
Mm.
I can help you feel safe because I feel safe and we're going to be
Mm.
okay.
And I think that's allowing, I think also, teaching people that is them disconnecting from things they can't control, like the governmental stuff and all that that's going on, and
Learning that they
energy,
can control their own
universal
emotions within
energy.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what it is going in and it, I think we're all gonna have to do, we've touched on shadow work. I think we're all gonna have to do another layer of shadow work because it's going to be a bit more deep than it was before, and a bit more honest and a bit more real. And some of it's going to really, really hurt, and some of it's going to be quite, and you're going to have to talk yourself out of stuff. You're going to have to try and stop the monkey chatter and stop all that that's going on. But it is doable. So, it's not undoable. When you start, you think, oh my God, I can't do this. But if you're slow, again, breathing, we're talking about your breath, and, you breathe and slow things down, you can deal with it and then start to understand the emotion and why you've got that emotion, and then look at it, step yourself out and go, well, I can't control the government, so let's just worry about and think about me here and what I can do here, and then I'll create a ripple effect from that way.
Exactly.
And that's,
This is
it's really hard.
I was going to say, this is quite interesting with you guys talking about this, because this is kind of linking into what we were talking earlier about the subject matter with that client that I had reference reading. So what I've been having quite a lot recently, certain spirits will be coming through in readings for people, and maybe somebody didn't have a great connection, but actually that spirit is wanting to maybe clear down that energy line so that it can be okay for people that maybe carry trauma or whatever else to debulk, to sort of to move forward, to find a way where the actions that were done don't have to sort of leave a lasting imprint. And this is happening a lot for many readers. I'm getting it a lot with my clients where spirit loved ones are coming in and they're holding their hands up. They're saying, I wasn't great in life, but I want to be better for you. I want to allow the healing that maybe wasn't available. And I think it's healing for both sides of the coin, healing for those in the spirit world so they can advance and do whatever they've got to do, but also to set the people free on the earth. And there was an experience. I had a client the other day message me, and she had a reading with somebody else. She wanted to try somebody different, which is fine. That's cool. I actually encourage that for people. I think it's great to have other styles of reading and everything. And she messaged me saying she was quite disappointed because a family member came through that wasn't particularly great. It wasn't the person she wanted to sort of speak to, and she felt very uncomfortable and very sort of shortchanged with the service that was given. Does that make that reader any less? I don't think so. I think it was just the fact that
No.
if you open up and you go to another reader, you can't expect to have Mitch style or Lucy style or Carly, because you're going into that person's energy, and that person will connect with spirit the way that they connect. And we were talking earlier about the fact that that spirit loved one still was able to come through and give evidence, even if it wasn't who she wanted to hear from. That's so really fucking powerful that that spirit allowed themselves to come through and come forward. And because there is all this disjointed energy that they're aware of on the earth, that spirit loved one sees that pain and is trying to heal it, is trying to clear it down for them. But if our response is, I don't want to hear from that person, and slam the phone down, how can the healing ever take place?
I mean, that's then the case of the person that had the reading to then
Lucy's ready to roll.
make...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's like, I'm gonna get a little buzzer. There we go. Let me get this out. So really, then it's down to the person who had the reading to then, instead of saying it wasn't a good reading, to be a bit more open-minded and a bit more mindful of who came through, what the message was, take that away, and then start looking within themselves what they need to heal. So I think it's a time for people, like, spirit are coming through and making that connection to say, things need to be sorted out. What were you going to say, Luce? Go on, I'm going to let you go before you forget where you're going.
I think that, like, first of all, I think, why are you going for reads? That's one question I would want to ask the person. What is your intention to get a read? Is it to hear from grandma and all the good stuff all the time, or is it for healing from the other side? So my perception of that reader that brought that medium that brought someone through that they didn't particularly want to hear from, I think actually that evidence alone makes them an exceptional reader or a medium. Because I go that is someone that probably she doesn't have on Facebook, or, like any stories about on Facebook. It's something probably shameful that she really doesn't want. So there's no way that person could know that person, and they bring that evidence. So I'm like, fucking, that's incredible. Secondly, are you going to get healed? Like, is this, to me, like, I've had experiences in mediumship where people have come through that I was saying earlier that I was not expecting to hear from, and it was absolutely, and they hurt me on this side of Earth, or didn't see me in my true light due to and they've actually said, due to my alcoholism and the way I was on this earth plane, I couldn't see you in your true light. And from here on the other side, I now see how precious you are. And, like, fucking hell, that's amazing. And did I like the person on this side of the thing? No. You know what I'm saying? They were a jerk. They were, they weren't very nice. They weren't very nice to their wife, their kids, everything. But to hear that is like, it is so healing for me that they go, and it heals that inner child that, even though I knew them as an adult, that didn't felt they've been seen, all that kind of stuff. So it's like many layers of healing, just that. So, and like, I've had dreams too where I know that person has come from the other, like, if someone that has passed away, and they've, in my dreams, and it's potent. It's like, and this person's come 2 or 3 times now and really, really trying to heal that area that they've hurt me in. And I'm so thankful for that.
Yeah.
I'm so thankful for that, because I want to walk on this earth in freedom. I want to experience. I've had so much shit. I've sat in the victim role for many, many, many fucking years. And I've sat in the shame, and I've sat in the grief, and I've sat in the poo, literally. And I've sat, I've sat in, like, the grossness of life, of this world. And I don't want it. I want to feel freedom. So if spirit's going to come over and bring people that I felt shame from, that I felt berated me, I say, bring it on. I want that healing. I want to feel that connection with them. I'm all for this universe being one.
Mm.
So let's bring it on. Like so to me, I can understand it to a degree, but it depends, I guess, where you are in your healing journey. And so, like, maybe 20 years ago, I might have been like, no, I don't think so. I think my personality would have wanted to hear from them. I don't know.
I get it
But
a
some
lot where
people,
people come through and they're like, no, I don't want to go there. And it's an instant door slammed. And you think, well, hang on a sec. As a medium, I can't just pluck who's coming in. This is the person stepping forward. You know, this is why now, well, I say it anyway, I always offer tarot with mediumship because I was going through a stage where I was doing just mediumship and a lot of this stuff was just coming in. And these people were like, I don't want to hear from that person. And that's why I go back to the tarot because I think, okay, well, let's see what guidance we get there. Because as a medium, I'm governed by who steps forward, and it isn't always going to be your mum that you loved dearly. It's not always going to be your auntie that you know was a great person. Sometimes these people have to come in because they've got stuff they need to clear for themselves
yeah,
as well as for you, you know. And I think people forget it's like when people go for readings, they think it's all about them. And it's like actually it's an energy exchange between spirit and yourself. And I think it's that whole thing of sometimes people expect to be healed and fixed without doing and acknowledging the real roots of the work, you know? And it fucking pisses
yeah.
me off, to be honest. It
It,
really
it
pisses
pisses
me
me
off.
off too. I'll be honest with you too. It pisses me off, and because I see it from when spirit. I was at such a place of desperation inside of me that when spirit comes through, it's like a glass of water going. It's so honoring and so amazing that the evidence and then the healing and stuff like that. So for me, I will take anything that spirit's going to give me because I know it's utter. Maybe it's just my walk that I now can say with confidence. It's to heal and to make me whole or better or feel better in myself. So, I just, yeah, I really struggle with it. That are they? What is the intention? What is the motivation? I see these people, they go to the shows and they do this and that, and they follow mediums around, and it's like, but there's no change.
Exactly.
And it's like there's no heat. Yeah, I don't get it.
Do you think that, I mean, we all obviously have disclaimers because we all,
Yeah,
you have them on your web pages. I have one on my table, we have the disclaimer. Do you think now that, I know readers shouldn't, but do you think, I was just sort of sat there listening, thinking perhaps readers should now have on that disclaimer, please sit and have a reading with an open mind. When you go into this reading, go in with an open mind. We are not all the same. Do you know,
Yeah.
it probably, as a reader, I think we probably not a bad idea. You know,
Well,
sit
when I do
and
my
have a reading.
shows, that's the first thing I say. I said, I'm going to hand over to spirit, keep an open mind, keep an open heart. And then because I don't know what's going to come in.
Mm, mm.
yeah,
I think us as readers, I think I think perhaps we should start having that on the table as a disclaimer or on a web page saying, you know, enter the reading with an open mind. No two readers are the same. And then hopefully that might stop the perception of people sitting there. I think sometimes I mean, I know we said earlier on, I feel it's very narrow-minded, but I think people are very blinkered and not everybody, I think, looks at the world with such a wide perspective. I think there's some people in the world that if they have one reading with one reader, they think that's it. All readers read the same. They
yeah.
can't think past that. And and that is down to the individual or down to the person having the reading. That's not down to the reader.
Mm.
Um, so I think us as readers sort of have to cover, this is going to sound really derogative, but we have to cover working with muggles or muggly people. Oh, we've lost Mitch.
Sorry.
Hey,
Thanks.
Husky.
He's he's been very
Hello,
demanding
mate.
down here at the moment. So
He's so cute.
Oh, we don't mind him being demanding. Is he going, Dad? Dad?
he's like
Dad?
pouring. He's like, come on, what's going on? I want to be
Dad?
walked.
Dad? Come on, I want to come up. I want to be part of this today. Hello, bird. You all right?
What's
Do that
come to me really,
nose.
really strong is, when they've had that, it's like almost like taking a drug. You know what I'm saying? So they've taken a
Mm,
drug. So they've had this mediumship reading, their first one, let's say. And I know my first one, I was just like, whoa. And it was like 2 weeks of kind of being like, holy crapper. And I was telling
was amazing.
everyone that was like my family and stuff like that. So-and-so came through and they said this and the evidence and blah, blah, blah. And like, I wanted the world to experience what I had experienced. So let's say you've taken heroin for the first time and it's called chasing the dragon. Right? So then you go and nothing ever matches up to that dopamine hit you've had. And so they're just utterly disappointed. And I look at it that I might never have that again, but I've had many other, and that's that open mind of healing in different ways through spirit, through Mitch, through, you know what I'm saying, through different tarot readers, through different mediums that have offered me different things at different times when I've needed it. And so some people, I see it as they're looking for that next hit, that next dopamine. It's not about the healing. It's about just, oh, I want to feel good
They
and
want the
feel kind of
fix,
like
yeah.
excited. Yeah. And they don't get it. And they go, that was a shit read, when actually it was a beautiful read. They're just not, they're looking for the good drug, what they consider. And so it's perception.
Yeah.
This perception is not being open.
Perception, expectations.
And they're looking, and I
Yeah.
see these people that go like 3, 4 times. I don't go to any of the spiritual churches or stuff like that, but you go and you just hear it's like the same people, and it's kind of like this gimme, gimme, gimme. And I understand that people can be in a place of pain and stuff and grief when a person's passed over, but there has to come a point where too you're getting your own healing from internally too. Does that make sense? And so you're just going to end up utterly disappointed because it doesn't, oh, you didn't get a read that time from that medium because you were at the show or whatever, or, you know, it didn't come through the way you're imagining it to come through. And
It's a fine line between being a gift and almost them making it a curse kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just to let you know, guys, we're over the witching hour, actually. Sorry.
Oh, were we?
Yeah.
But I don't want to like make fun of that, because I don't want people that get reads to feel bad, but it's just, if you're getting reads and you're feeling like, oh, this is not hitting the mark or whatever inside of you, there are shit readers out there. Okay. And there are charlatans. We've talked about the charlatans. You know what I'm saying? Like there are charlatans out there. But if you've gotten a read and someone's come through and you can resonate with that person, but you didn't want to hear from them, do a little check inside of what's going on with you. Does that make sense? Because I guarantee you that actually spirit's got a beautiful journey for you to go on. That's not super painful. It's actually really freeing and could change your life. But sometimes it's just
have a little look
that person that's passed on that hurt you. You know, and it doesn't mean you have to say what they did was okay. That's not what it is about. And spirit would never expect you to say it's okay. It's about releasing the pain that that person has caused you so that you can live in freedom.
And also, spirit don't have all the answers. And I think that's the other misconception. Sometimes people come expecting those answers, and spirit are very aware of free will. So sometimes they might highlight some stuff, but it's not for them to know. It's like, I always remember I went for a reading. I had a reading from somebody, and then 2 days later I had a car accident, and I was really pissed off at the time with that reader. And I was like, how dare they didn't tell me that I was going to have this car accident? But that reader wasn't aware of that. That wasn't being shown, you know. So for whatever reason, that car accident had to play out the way that it did. And, you know, but I was pissed off at the time, and I thought, what a shit reader. She should have picked that up. She should have known. I should have had some pre-warning. Spirit don't give us always access to everything like that. And maybe on some level there was a need for me to have that experience, because the shifts that happened afterwards were amazing. They were painful in those moments, but looking back now, they needed to happen. And you hear that quite a lot of, like, people get funny if like something suddenly comes to be, you know. And yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? We could go on this subject forever.
Yeah,
I think.
we could.
I
don't read for
there's a whole
divination.
thing
Because I feel people have autonomy over themselves. I really do. Like, I do believe that people can read for divination. I've seen it. I've experienced the divinations reads before, and things have come. I've put it, you know, wrote it down on a piece of paper, what they've said, put it away, and I look back a year or 2 years later and I'm like, oh my God, it did happen. Does that make sense? But I don't believe spirit gives us stuff because we can influence it, because we do have free will. Does that make sense? Or we could totally think, oh, this is what it is. And most of those times that people have read for me for divination, it's not been an exact thing of what I've imagined at that time. Does that make sense? And so spirit has their own gifts, and that's what they are gifts in our lives. If we know what the gifts are all the time, it doesn't end up being a gift, does it?
Exactly.
It just so for me also, we are spirit in human form, so we do have the answers within ourselves too. If we step into our higher self and calm our body down and stuff like that, we can, for me, it's like usually when I get a divination read, it already resonates with something I know that I want to do. Does that make sense? Or I'm wanting to see happen, and I go, thank you, Spirit. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for the check mark. That's awesome. But people could just make up any crap and say, this is what happened in your future. And I feel, because I'm a spirit being, if it doesn't resonate with me, I'm not going to hold on to that. I'm just going to wait and see if the evidence actually prevails for itself. Because it should resonate with you. It should be like, yes, that's what I wanted to do since I was a child. Or I just had that thought last night where I thought, you know what, I'm going to go back to school. And then a reader says, the cards are saying, or I feel spirit is saying that you need to go back to school. There's something you, and you go, thank you, because it's guidance.
Yeah.
Right? And it's resonation. It's not telling you how to live. And some people, they get into this mode where they want spirit to answer they want it from outside to tell them what to do on every turn. And it's like, no, you have the autonomy. And that's part of trauma, is when your autonomy is taken away from you, you look on the outside and you're looking for anyone to give you guidance because you've never trusted yourself.
Yeah.
And spirit is saying, trust yourself, but you could go to readers and will check mark the things that you already know and give you that confidence. Then it gives you that confidence of going, I'm going to step out and I'm going to do this, or I'm going to get that boyfriend. Yeah, I want a boyfriend, and someone might say, I see in 6 months that, you should try internet dating. Yeah, I've actually thought about internet dating and I'm ready to get a boyfriend. It's just spirit saying green light.
Definitely.
Am I making sense, you guys, or is that a bunch of crap that I just spoke? Because it makes sense.
No.
Okay. I just need your.
No, as you said, green light.
Sense.
I was thinking of the that Netflix, and then it says red light, green light. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Squid Games. Sorry, I was like going to get distracted. I've got like him down by side prawing at me like.
You want to go? Yeah, you want to go. You know what? My stomach is going. So I need to. I need to fill my gullet. I have a turkey sandwich waiting for me downstairs to make and eat.
Nice.
Oh, sorry, I shouldn't have made that sound. I hate that sound, and I just did it for everyone else. Sorry.
On that note, shall we wrap it up?
On that, we shall wrap it up.
Well, lots of love and light from Lucy over here, and
thanks for having us, guys.
See you next week.
Bye.
Bye for now.